Harper Russo was a young woman with big dreams. She lived in a small town near the sea, where life was peaceful but slow. Every morning, she would sit by her window, watching the sunrise and writing in her notebook. Her dream was to become a famous author one day. Her family owned a little bookstore, full of old and new books. Harper loved helping her father organize the shelves. She often read for hours, lost in the stories of adventure, love, and courage. Books became her teachers and her best friends. One evening, while cleaning the store, Harper found a dusty, old journal hidden behind the shelves. The cover was leather, and the pages were yellow with age. She opened it carefully and saw a name written inside: Eleanor Russo, her great-grandmother. Curious, Harper started reading the journal. It was filled with stories, letters, and dreams written long ago. Eleanor had once wanted to be a writer too. But life had taken her in another direction. Harper felt an instant connection to her. The journal inspired Harper to write more seriously. She began spending every night creating short stories and poems. Her words flowed like waves, filled with emotion and imagination. She started believing that her dream could really come true. One day, Harper saw a writing competition online. The winner's story would be published in a famous magazine. She hesitated at first, unsure if her work was good enough. But then she remembered Eleanor's dream and decided to enter. For days, she worked tirelessly on her story. She wrote about a young woman who found courage through writing, much like herself. She rewrote it many times, trying to make every word perfect. Finally, she sent it off with hope in her heart. Weeks passed, and Harper tried to stay calm. Every time the mail arrived, her heart raced. She wanted so badly to know the result. One afternoon, she found an envelope with her name written beautifully on the front. With shaking hands, she opened it. The letter said, "Congratulations, Harper Russo. Your story has been selected for publication." Tears filled her eyes. Her hard work had paid off, and her dream was becoming real. With shaking hands, she opened it. The letter said, "Congratulations, Harper Russo. Your story has been selected for publication." Tears filled her eyes. Her hard work had paid off, and her dream was becoming real. Her parents hugged her with pride. The whole town celebrated her success. The local newspaper wrote an article about her, calling her the voice of tomorrow. Harper smiled, feeling both happy and nervous about what would come next. Soon, the magazine was published, and Harper's story touched many readers. People wrote to her, saying her words inspired them to follow their dreams too. She realized that writing had the power to change lives. After her success, Harper received an invitation from a big publishing company. They wanted her to write a full novel. She couldn't believe it. It was everything she had ever wished for. But she also knew it would take time and effort. Harper began writing her first novel, Winds of Tomorrow. It was about hope, family, and courage. Every day, she wrote for hours, losing track of time. Her notebook filled with ideas, and her mind was full of possibilities. There were moments of doubt, of course. Sometimes she felt her writing wasn't good enough. But each time, she looked at Eleanor's old journal for motivation. It reminded her that every great writer once started as a dreamer. Months passed, and Harper finished her book. She sent the final copy to the publisher and waited again. This time, she wasn't afraid of the result. She had grown stronger, more confident in her voice. When the book was published, it became a success. Readers loved her simple yet powerful storytelling. They connected with her characters, and her words gave them comfort and strength. Harper's dream had finally come true. With fame came new opportunities. She was invited to schools and universities to talk about writing and creativity. She always told young students, "Don't stop dreaming." Every great story begins with a single word. Harper also started a writing club in her hometown. People of all ages joined to share their stories. It became a place where creativity grew freely, just like in her family's old bookstore. One day, while speaking at a school, a young girl approached Harper and said, "Your book made me want to write too." Harper smiled and gave her one piece of advice: write from your heart. Not for fame. Years went by, and Harper wrote many books. Each one was different, but carried a message of hope. Her name became well known across the country, but she stayed humble and grateful for her journey. Even with her busy life, Harper often returned to the bookstore. She helped her parents and met readers who came to see where her dream had started. The smell of books still gave her peace. One evening, she sat by the same window where she once dreamed of success. The sunset painted the sky orange and pink. She opened Eleanor's journal again and whispered, "We did it." The journal had become her treasure, a symbol of family dreams passing through generations. Harper decided to write her next book based on Eleanor's life, to honor her great-grandmother's memory. She traveled to nearby towns to learn more about Eleanor's past. She met old people who remembered her and shared stories about her kindness, strength, and wisdom. Each story gave Harper new inspiration. When the book was finally done, Harper named it Letters to Eleanor. It was deeply emotional and beautifully written. Readers around the world loved it, and it became one of her best-selling novels. Success never changed Harper's values. She continued teaching writing to children, believing that every young person had a story worth telling. Her goal was to make writing simple, honest, and full of heart. One rainy afternoon, Harper received an award for her contribution to literature. She walked onto the stage with tears in her eyes and said, "I write because words can heal hearts and bring hope." Her speech was shared everywhere, inspiring thousands of new writers. Many people began reading English through her simple stories. Harper's work became a tool for learning and improving language skills. She started a project called Write the World, where people from different countries shared their stories online. It connected dreamers, learners, and writers across the globe. Harper believed language could unite people. Her idea was that through reading and writing in English, people could share feelings and ideas no matter where they were from. During one of her travels, she met a teacher who used Harper's stories to teach English. The teacher said, "Your words help my students learn faster." Harper felt proud and emotional. She realized that her dream had become something much bigger. It was helping others find their voice and improve their skills. That made her happier than any prize. When she returned home, she started writing a book just for English learners. It was called Stories for Dreamers. Each story was simple, meaningful, and full of life lessons. When she returned home, she started writing a book just for English learners. It was called Stories for Dreamers. Each story was simple, meaningful, and full of life lessons. The book became a hit in schools. Students learned new words and ideas through her stories. Harper had successfully made education and storytelling come together. She often said, "A story is not just entertainment, it's a way to learn and grow." Her message became famous among teachers and students alike. Years later, Harper looked back at her journey. From a small-town dreamer to a world-known author and teacher, she had achieved more than she ever imagined. She continued writing until her last days, filling pages with wisdom and warmth. Her stories remain timeless, guiding young readers toward learning and hope. Even after she was gone, her books continued to inspire. Every reader who opened her pages felt her spirit kind, brave, and full of dreams. Harper Russo became a symbol of courage, learning, and love for writing. Her story taught the world that dreams can come true when you believe in yourself and never stop learning.